Would I be an idiot if I requested a different teacher for my second daughter over something that happened 5 years ago? So this is what happened 5 years ago. My then 9-year-old daughter started puberty earlier than others her age, and body odor was a problem. Foot smell also runs in my family. We started using foot powder for her shoes, but sometimes it didn't help, and she habitually bounced her foot when working. Being young, she loved wearing flats to school and was in the class of RT, rude teacher. RT pulled my daughter aside before recess and told her that she needed to keep her shoes on because she was making the classroom stink, and then days later called out my child's name in front of the entire class, prompting my child to put her foot down. The teacher thanked her and went on teaching. When I pointed out how embarrassing that was for a 9-year-old who doesn't have control of her body smells right now, the teacher was very blase about the situation and how she'd handled it. And it gave my daughter body issues that she's still dealing with. She's going into 9th grade now. I've never forgiven RT or gotten over now the present day. In May, requests for the upcoming school year were sent out. I requested my second daughter, D2, not be put in RT's class. I didn't go into detail as to why, just requested she not be in RT's class. Teachers were posted today and lo and behold D2 is in RT's class. D2 has ADHD, gets very emotional very easily, and from what I heard from a friend who subbed for RT's class last year, it was a poop show. I have my reservations on how well RT would be able to handle D2 or if there would be a similar situation of embarrassment for her. Would I be the idiot if I emailed the principal and asked her to move D2 to the other teacher's class before school starts? I don't want to make her work harder, but I also don't like the approach of just wait and see what happens. My husband, however, feels that we should give RT another shot, because we will have 2 other kids going into her class in the future if she's still teaching, and we can't always ask for special placement because of something that happened 5 years ago. So, would I be the idiot? Comments before the update. Everyone sucks here. Your daughter should have been taught not to take off the shoes in class. That is disgusting. Smelly feet or not. The teacher should have talked with you and your daughter privately about not taking the shoes off. Not the idiot. You absolutely can request your child not be placed in this particular teacher's classroom. Your priority as a parent is to protect your kids and help them get an education in a setting conducive to learning. Update. I emailed the principal that night and basically said I'm so sorry, I know teachers just got posted but I requested D2 not be in RT's rude teacher class. Is it possible to have her switched into the other class? Monday, the principal called me and in essence said there's a lot that goes into making class lists. Academics have to be considered, similar numbers of boys and girls in each class, making sure if any kids couldn't be in a class together they were split, so it's just too hard. I told her my side, and how I'm sure that nothing would likely happen, but for me personally there's a non-zero chance of her causing undue harm to another of my children. She told me she'd talked to RT many times, and although she'd yet to see her teach, she's new that RT is very nice and she'd talked to RT without naming names to let RT know that a parent was concerned about having their child in her class due to previous treatment of a sibling. Tuesday, I talked to someone from the district that is the administrator for the schools in my area. He asked me about the situation. I told him, and I mentioned that the principal had said it was too hard to switch students, so I was wondering if it was something that the district could do easier. That I know all it takes is one bad experience with a teacher to ruin kids' school enjoyment. He said the district didn't typically override the principal's decisions, but he wanted to talk to her because he agreed that what RT said and did was inappropriate, and I shouldn't have to stress about another of my kids being in her class. Wednesday, the principal called me again. She was very shocked because when we talked I thought we'd reached an understanding. But I just got off the phone with my supervisor and, well, wouldn't you know it, there just happened to be a 2nd grade teacher in her office, so the teacher helped the principal find a student who was equal to my daughter. They talked to the parents and D2 would no longer be in RT's class. The principal said, you know, if you were still having reservations about her being in the class you could have come to me. I said I wasn't trying to go above you. You just said it was too hard, so I didn't know if it was something the district could have an easier time doing. She ended with well ... we hope to see you at back to school night. And if you need anything please let me know first. Anyway, that's the update. Thanks everyone for your judgment and insights. Comments before second update. You're the idiot. You're Karen and it is really showing. I get that everyone wants the best for their kids, but you seem like a controlling helicopter parent. I pity your husband and kids and hope you find the help you need. Not the idiot. Nice. The principal was definitely caught off guard by the district coming into this issue and didn't expect that at all. I'm sure you showed plenty of concern, but the principal is one of those who is used to having the last word on things with parents, and often forget there's a whole slew of people above them who can pressure them to do the right thing. Update. I agree that none of it needed to happen, and that's why I made the first post asking if I was overreacting. I did have her swap out her shoes so her flats could air out. If she wanted to wear them I put foot powder in them and told her to keep them on, but it's not really about the shoes. I never heard from the teacher about any issues. When my daughter came home after the first incident we had her stop wearing the shoes, made sure she was showering and scrubbing her feet, bought those ultra no-show socks for the flats, etc. I didn't hear about it being an issue again until the day before parent-teacher conferences, but again, from my child and not from her. I don't disagree with her side. After the PTC we had her only wear the flats on weekends at home. But I can only fix a problem if I know about a problem. It's more about her attitude. When I asked her at PTC if she didn't see how that might be embarrassing for a kid. I even asked why we weren't made aware that it was still an issue. If she had said I didn't mean for it to come across that way, or I see how that could be misunderstood, or literally anything pointing out why she didn't reach out to us when it was first a problem. Or after the first incident when it apparently continued to be a problem, there wouldn't be hard feelings. Instead she doubled down on her stance and shrugged it off like it was no big deal. It wasn't a big deal to adults, but it was to a 9-year-old little girl who was going through changes that other kids her age weren't. Also, my husband is always on our kids' sides, but he is also more logical, whereas I'm more emotional. I don't think he's wrong for suggesting we give her another chance, hence why I posted asking if I was overreacting. Do you think she went too far? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for calling out my dad and stepdad? I, female 16, have a twin brother, Cody. I do cheerleading and Cody does sports. We do these activities because we enjoy them, but Cody also puts in a lot of effort because he's constantly seeking approval from our dad and stepdad. The two don't care for each other, but are somehow the best of friends when it comes to Cody's sports. He does like 5 different ones because our dad likes hockey and lacrosse while our stepdad prefers football and basketball. They both enjoy baseball. If he ever dares to quit a single one of them will throw a riot or accuse him of playing favorites. It's so dumb. Sometimes Cody's schedules clash or get so overwhelming to the point where he'll lay on his bedroom floor for hours and dissociate. It's been like this since he was like 10. My mom and stepmom think it's just men being men and that boys enjoy sports, so Cody probably doesn't care. But like, there's a limit to everything, right? We were having a celebratory lunch for our older sister before she leaves for college, and both sides were there. The lunch ended at 2 p.m. and our sister asked if we wanted to go to the mall. I said yes, and Cody was clearly going to say yes, but our dad said he had baseball practice. Cody tried asking if he could sit out one day since he hasn't missed a single practice of anything in his life, but our stepdad joined our dad's "practice makes perfect" speech and backed out. They then tried using me as an example. Oh, Ashley's never missed a day of practice and look at her, medals and trophies for days. I thought this was ridiculous. I've missed plenty of practices and Cody has more awards than me. I asked them if they were being serious and told them what I just mentioned. My dad kept telling me to be quiet, but I called him and my stepdad losers that need to realize that Cody is a human being with limits, not a doll they can program or play with. Both of them were very embarrassed. My dad told me that I was being very disrespectful. My mom joined in and said I was reading too much into the whole thing and that they're men and I simply won't get their dynamics. I call bullshit, but they're all saying I'm in the wrong and need to apologize. My sister agrees with me but says I was disrespectful. Cody doesn't want to talk about it. Am I the idiot? Just to make it clear, the practice was an informal one. Think of it as extra credit to strengthen specific skills. Comments before the update. Not the idiot. I'm a high school basketball coach. If a kid this stretched out tries out for my team, I'll talk to him about his motivations for being here. If he's only there because a parent wants him to be there and really doesn't want to be there, I'll cut him so he can have at least some time that's his own. I don't care how good the player is. If he's only there because other people want him to be, I'll make the dad "I don't want to play basketball" conversation easy for him. Not the idiot. It needed to be said and it's sad that no one has said it before. Good for you for standing up for him. When your brother has a breakdown because of the pressure, your dad and stepdad will be there all confused as to why that's happened. Update. So like I said, I called my grandma. I told her everything and she was mad. She told me that I did a good job telling off my parents and that she's glad I told her. In the meantime, my mom finally realized that something was wrong and called me while I was out to tell me that there was something wrong with Cody. From what she described, he was doing his dissociating thing. I was kind of upset that this was her first time seeing him in this state, considering I've seen it many times, but maybe after what I said, she'd been paying more attention to him. Then my grandma arrived and she made my mom bring everyone over, dad, stepmom, stepdad, and she really gave it to them. She told them if they didn't get their priorities straight then she'd be taking me and Cody. She also made it very clear to my mom and stepmom that their "it's a guy thing" thinking was shameful. Mom felt guilty but my stepdad and dad threw a fuss. Mom then yelled at them and told them what she saw. That shut them up. It was crazy to see my parents being scolded like they were little kids, but since they didn't want to hear it from me, well, my mom then talked to Cody, who, like a lot of you said, didn't want to quit any sport because this whole thing is so ingrained in him, but mom put her foot down and told him that she was so sorry for letting this go on for so long, but he has to quit at least one sport. Cody said some harsh things back, but they resolved it thanks to grandma. He's now only doing hockey and baseball. He was too afraid to tell our dad, so my mom told them instead and they reacted. Okay, stepdad said at least he's not quitting all of them, but shut up after my mom glared at him. This whole situation was really something and it's crazy to think I triggered it. I felt sort of guilty for a while, but reading everyone's harsh but very true comments knocked some sense into me. Cody has no identity. He doesn't have a favorite song, movie, etc. It is now my mission to help him figure himself out. Hopefully he gets therapy, but the parents are too busy fighting over whose fault this is. Maybe I'll call grandma again lol. Not the idiot. Good for you. Seriously, you handled this incredibly well. It's hard getting older and realizing that the people we've looked up to as authorities all our lives are just people that can frick up. People that deserve to be scolded when they need to pull their heads out of their asses for being selfish pricks. Good on you for telling your grandma, and I'm glad she stepped up for you both. How would you handle this toxic household? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for wanting space after our daughter eloped? I, male 47, and my wife, female 53, are having some troubles and a friend suggested posting here. Our daughter Tony, 24, decided to elope and we found out through a Facebook post. We always had a good relationship, so this was a huge shock to us. It hurt us a lot that she didn't even tell us she was going to marry or that we could see her get married at all. It also doesn't help that who she married we met once and only dated for a year. Both my wife and I are hurt. We saw Tony today and told her we needed some space. She seemed shocked and asked why. We told her it's because we are hurt that she eloped. Tony got mad and told us that it was her wedding and she can do what she wants. My wife told her yes, it's her wedding, but there are still consequences with her eloping. Tony called us unsupported jerks and left. Added some common questions. We are close, we get dinner every weekend, and she picked an apartment that was close to us so she could see us more. We met the guy 2 months ago. He's fine. We invited him back multiple times, but he works at the hospital so his schedule isn't normal. We just want a few weeks to process this and not go to dinner for a bit. Just want some space. Comments before the update. Not the idiot. Your wife sounds smart. I'm surprised you guys asked for space instead of talking to her and explaining to her that you're hurt because she got married without even telling you guys. You missed a big moment for her and you're her parents, as if she didn't trust you enough or didn't consider your feelings. Hopefully her marriage turns out well. No idiots here. She is allowed to do what she wants. She's an adult. You're humans and are allowed to have very normal human feelings. Nobody enjoys being left out and in the dark. You're also allowed to want space to process how you feel. Update. This whole situation resolved itself last night. We got a call from Tony last night. Her best friend since middle school also found out from Facebook, lives in another state. Her best friend was extremely hurt and ripped her a new one, Tony's words. It got to the point where she told Tony that I guess you will find out I am married by Facebook. That made it click and she realized she messed up. Now the reason for eloping in Facebook had nothing to do with us and everything with the guy she married. Jeff's parents are not in his life, so he never wanted a wedding since his side would be empty. Also, he didn't want us at the courthouse for the same reason. They thought Facebook would be the easiest way to tell all his relatives. According to Tony, it didn't even cross her mind to call and tell us. So everyone found out from Facebook besides the witnesses. Now they haven't moved in together yet and their honeymoon is later this month. Instead of meeting this weekend, we moved it to Wednesday when Jeff is off. We also showed the Reddit post and she was shocked at what a lot of you guys said. Not the idiot. Oh well, I mean, it's one thing for Jeff not to want a wedding, but what did your daughter want? Even if they wanted to elope, I don't understand how it didn't cross her mind to tell you I am so sorry. If it was me, I would resent someone from keeping my family from experiencing this celebration with me just because my partner wouldn't have had that same experience. Not the idiot. So because Jeff is so insecure about not having family, he made your daughter elope without telling anyone. Not liking this guy. Family doesn't always mean relatives, it means friends too. He can still have a side with who he loves. Glad she figured out how wrong she was before she alienated everyone. Am I the idiot telling our friend only real moms got invitations to our group's yearly Mother's Day outing? Layla and I are friends with 5 other women and have been since middle school. Everyone but us has kids, we have fur babies instead. Once our group had kids, we tried to do a Mother's Day lunch with all of us. It didn't really go over that well because those without kids couldn't really participate. Like, what do I know about late night feedings and diapers and first steps or going through the adoption process? So people without kids were just left out and everyone was okay with that. It's been like this for the last 11 years, and now it's turned to their kids and husbands, partners to make them brunch together, serve it up, exchange gifts, stories, and spend the day together on one big family outing. Layla got her pup last year. She is 100% the dog mom. Stickers, shirts, we'll give you presents from her dog, and sign cards from her dog. I don't think there's anything wrong with that and it's cute. She can go overboard, like the birthday party she threw for her pup last month and invited our group and her friends from her doggy daycare. Some of our friends left because a couple of the kids have dog allergies and she had dogs everywhere and didn't include that info. She was sad they left, so we had to explain to her that she knows some of our friends' kids have these allergies and she didn't give a heads up. She invited people to bring her dog's friends from doggy daycare. Eventually she let it go. Mother's Day rolls around. She came over and was pretty upset, said she needed to vent. She said she was hurt that she was left out of the Mother's Day outing because she's a dog mom and that counts too. I listened to her for a bit, but when she started to actually get angry with our other friends, I told her they had a point not inviting us. We could deal with not being invited to one of 2 celebrations out of the year that's for families. She asked if that means I don't think of my cats and dog as family. I told her I do, but it's not the same. I told her that the outing is for real moms and their kids. Our friends are actually making sacrifices, giving up time, energy, and resources that we don't. I gave the example that for her pup, she got her at 11 weeks when she was already born and weaned. She had help training her at a doggy academy. Free and easy adoption. She has her in doggy daycare 5 days a week and anytime she wants to take off. And a groomer does all the bathing and trimming. I told her I'm not trying to take away from the joy being a dog mom brings her, but just trying to highlight how we aren't the same kind of moms. Layla left after that and none of us have heard from her. The only one who has talked to her, works with her, and says Layla has been making some comments about how she was intentionally left out and her friends don't take her seriously because she doesn't have a crotch goblin. I'm starting to think I may have messed up and should have just been quiet and let her be mad for a bit. Am I the idiot? Edit. Our mom friends do not just randomly exclude us. The first 2 years of others having kids we did celebrate together. Those of us without kids, it was more than just she and I at first. Could not talk at length about parenting and families. Going someplace after lunch had to be kid-friendly because the parents wanted to have their kids with them. We wanted to go to a bar or a day trip. Our friends with kids have always made sure to not gush about their kids all the time, so as a group, we all decided, Layla included, that the Mother's Day lunch would just be for the moms and their kids so they can do all the kid-friendly activities and gush about their kids all they wanted. Back then, Layla would get bored with them talking about their kids too much or spending too much time and attention on kid pics and not other topics. She still has that same attitude today. Edit 2. Unless she is keeping the info to herself, Layla chooses to be child-free and it's not an issue of being childless. Her marriage did end because her ex eventually changed his mind to wanting kids. She took it pretty hard when she found out he remarried and has kids now, and got Lemon not too long after that. Comments before update. Not the idiot. I joke a lot that I'm a dog mom because my dog acts like a toddler, but in reality it's not the same as having a kid. I can leave my dog at home but couldn't leave a 2-year-old at home. It's not the same. It sounds like she's pretty self-centered anyways, so I wouldn't take her comments too personally. Not the idiot. Layla needs to get over herself. If you're child-free, fantastic. But you don't get to be included in a holiday for moms. Dogs are not children. It's fine to call yourself a dog mom if you get that it's not the same. But people who don't get that are cringe as hell. Update. Some of the gals and I met with Layla this past weekend to talk with her and see if we could make a compromise and just see how she's doing. I apologized to her for my wording of real moms instead of saying moms with human kids or something similar. I also apologized for the examples I used and explained I felt that if I just said remember we agreed to this because we didn't like hearing about kids all day and doing kid-friendly things would have been invalidating. We all told her she's an amazing dog mom to Lemon and don't think less of her. Just like we originally agreed. Mother's Day would be the one day they can talk about their kids without restraint. Do kid-friendly things without worry of infringing on child-free friends. After that, I brought up the Pet Parents Day and Dog Mom Day users mentioned in my original post, and we proposed doing a celebration for her on one of those days. We said we'd even do a belated Pet Parents, Dog Mom Day celebration since we hadn't heard of them prior. Layla asked if everyone and their kids would be there, and they said if she wants it like the get-together for Lemon with multiple dogs, then no because of the dog allergies. She said no to this because she feels a separate celebration isn't acknowledging her as a mom and they don't skip the kids' parties, games, so it shouldn't be any different when Lemon has her doggy friends around. I gently reminded her that she often leaves the kids' B-Day parties early or skips them entirely because she doesn't like being around kids for long. She said it's different. So we asked her how she would like to do future Mother's Day events. She wants them to go out to eat at dog-friendly places instead and do dog-friendly activities after so she can have Lemon and Lemon can have friends to play with at the same time like the kids do. We explained to her that that wouldn't be feasible due to the kids with allergies. Her suggestion was to just let the kids that are allergic stay home and their moms can do something with them in the evening. Our friend said leaving kids out of Mother's Day wasn't possible and that we already do monthly things together, Layla included, that the kids are left out and Layla gets to bring Lemon to most of those things. Layla said no, either Lemon gets accepted everywhere, all the time, Mother's Day included, or it's nothing. I then asked her if she was really doing okay and if any of this had to do with her ex remarrying. She got really mad at that and left, so I'm going to guess yes. We're going to give her space for now, but some of the others aren't willing to hang out with her anymore after she suggested leaving the kids out and comparing the kids and Lemon. I'll try to still give her support and have asked her family to keep an eye on her, see if they can talk to her. You're the idiot. I am sorry to say this, but your actions were extremely hurtful and insensitive. You clearly have a biased and limited understanding of what it means to be a mother. Being a mother is not defined by having human children, and to exclude your friend because she does not fit your narrow definition is discriminatory and unacceptable. Furthermore, your justifications for excluding her are not only unfounded but also dismissive of her love and dedication to her pet. You owe your friend a sincere apology, and you should take this as an opportunity to expand your understanding and empathy towards different types of families. Not the idiot. You are a saint for trying this hard. But the truth is, your friend is digging a hole she can never crawl out of. She wants everyone to do exactly what she wants and give in to her demands, but doesn't give a single damn about anyone else and how it affects them. Time to let this friendship fall by the wayside. Who do you think is in the wrong? Let me know in the comments. Am I the idiot for kicking my brother and his wife from my house? My wife, female 31, and I, male 30, had a baby 4 months ago. My wife has been suffering from PPD and she's had a lot of breakdowns here and there, and it was just so heartbreaking to see. I decided to give her a day to herself and take care of the baby. So I took a small leave from work, gave her my card, and told her to do what she needs to do for herself. My brother, male 35, and his wife, female 34, came over the same day she was out for a visit and asked me where she was. I told them she was out doing her own things and they asked why I was babysitting the baby. I told them it wasn't babysitting when it's my own child and I was giving my wife some time to herself. My sister-in-law scoffed at me and told me she should be home like a good mom, and my brother laughed and agreed, saying that taking care of a baby is easy. I got pissed at him and told him, of course it'd be easy for you, because you live with mom, so you could just dump the baby on her. He and his wife got pissed and started yelling at me, so I kicked them out and told them to never come back unless they apologized. I told my wife about it and she was sad that I fought with my brother because of her, but I reassured her that I didn't care because she was important. I got a call from my mom saying she agreed with me but told me I was a bit harsh for what I said to him, and I can't help but feel like an idiot for that. Am I the idiot? Comments before the update. You're the idiot. Wow, it's really impressive how you think it's okay to kick your own brother and his wife out of your house over a disagreement. You were the one who made a rude comment about your brother living with your mom and dumping the baby on her, and yet you're playing the victim here. And your mom even thinks you are harsh. It's clear that you have some serious issues with communication and handling conflict in a mature way. Maybe instead of trying to justify your actions, you should apologize to your brother and try to work things out like adults. Not the idiot. Where do they get off telling you how to parent in your own home? This was not harsh at all. Your wife is struggling and you did exactly the right thing by giving her some time to take a break and relax. It was one day, not a month. You were also right. You aren't babysitting, this is your own child. Honestly, more men should take the occasional day off to bond with their babies, and I respect you a lot for doing this. Your wife is being a good mom by understanding that she is struggling right now and she needs to be kind to herself and take some breaks, for both her health and the family's health. You are being a good dad by supporting her. Update. First off, my wife has been doing great. She looks as happy as the day we found out we were having a kid. I give her the weekends to herself, considering those are my days off. I still help her with our child when I get off from work. Second, my mom called again to ask what really happened between my brother and I, because apparently he only told her that I kicked him out for saying I was babysitting my kid, so I decided to give her the full story, and needless to say, mom was pissed. Our mom was a single mother who raised both my brother and I, so she was beyond pissed that he would say something like that about my wife. Next thing I knew, she was telling him and his wife that they had 30 days to pack up and leave. My brother called and went off on me for apparently making him and his wife homeless. I just hung up because I wasn't going to deal with him anymore. My wife and I are planning a small vacation to visit her parents soon. My mom is coming with us, and she's really excited for them to meet their grandchild. Thank you everyone and take care. AITA. Again, I offered my wife to get her own card or a joint account. She does not want either and I'm fine with it. My account is pretty much hers. Not the idiot. Make sure you get cameras at both houses. It's likely your brother and sister-in-law will try to gain entry to either, both places if they realize you're gone. Mom should change the locks at her place too. Plus, make sure you don't leave vehicles out where they can get vandalized during your away trip. Timers for your lights in your house are always a good idea. On, off at random times so it looks like your place is occupied when it isn't will deter regular thieves looking for an easy score too. How would you feel if someone belittled your struggles and dismissed your efforts as a parent, and then got angry when called out on their behavior? Let me know in the comments. Am I the idiot for quietly packing my stuff and leaving my family's house without telling anyone after my dad threatened to kick me out? I, female 23, live at home. I am in grad school and work part-time plus intern at an office. I graduate in June and I've been applying to jobs as much as I can so I can finally move out. My sister, female 20, also lives at home but is doing school online and doesn't work. I try to help with chores around the house as much as possible, although it's difficult since I leave the house early in the morning and come home late at night. Last week, I came home and there were clean dishes in the dishwasher. I said I'm gonna take a quick shower then empty the dishwasher. And my dad went on a rant about how I'm useless and never help around the house and that my sister is always the one doing everything. I explained that I do help and that just because they haven't seen me help doesn't mean that I don't. He asked me to give him an example and I told him that I took the garbage out the night before. The conversation escalated to him saying that I should shut up and not argue any longer because he can easily make me homeless if he wanted to. I said okay and went upstairs. The next morning while everyone was still asleep I packed my things and left, and I've been sleeping in my car for a week and taking showers at my gym. Later in the day after I left, my parents called and my mom texted me asking where I am when I didn't come home when I was supposed to. I didn't reply and blocked my entire family's numbers and social medias and haven't spoken to them since. They have been calling and texting my friends asking them where I am. I haven't told any of my friends that I'm sleeping in my car, so I got very confused texts from friends asking me what's going on. and why my parents are asking where I am and if I'm safe and okay. I told my closest friend that I left home and that I'm safe and let her know to tell my parents that I'm fine, but I have no desire to speak to them anymore. They've been begging my friend to disclose my location and asking her to ask me to allow them to speak to me. I went to my friends yesterday and she told me that what I did was awful and that I should speak to them. I told her that they threatened to make me homeless, so I left by my own volition, but she's insisting that making them worry about my safety is a horrible thing to do. But I honestly think I just gave them what they asked for. They wanted to get rid of me, so I left. Am I the idiot for leaving and refusing to communicate with them? Edit. My mom was there when this happened and she was on my dad's side as well, so she's aware of the incident and knows that I was threatened to be made homeless. They also said that I was most likely never going to get a job and was going to stay at home forever, even though I have 2 jobs right now. Internship is unpaid though, and I'm actively looking for a full-time job, and yes, they've done this before. Thanks to everyone who has given me advice, I appreciate it more than you can imagine. Comments before the update. Not the idiot, but maybe talk to your local PD and let them know that if your parents try to file a missing persons report, it's a waste of time because you're not missing. They threatened to kick you out for not helping, so you left. Sounds like a win-win to me. Not the idiot. Sounds like you are majorly stressed out, and having someone scream at you in a place that is supposed to be a calm, safe environment is just not helpful at all. I am guessing your mom doesn't know what happened. I would at least tell her. Update. A week after my post, I ended up moving in with a friend who was kind enough to let me stay and pay a very small amount in rent in return. I also ended up talking to my parents, and my dad apologized for his behavior and promised to never make a threat like that again, which honestly came as a shock to me, but I'm glad things got resolved between us. I let them know that I am staying with a friend and paying a small amount in rent in the meantime, and that I am in the process of finding an apartment, and they suggested that I move back in with them for free until I find a job and a place, so I took their offer and moved back home and haven't had issues with them since moving back. I finished grad school and completed my internship, and 2 weeks ago I landed a full-time job in my field. I also found an apartment that's only a 5 minutes walk from my job. I start the job next week and I move into my new place 2 weeks from now. Not the idiot. My Indian parents used to make us stand outside the house and threaten to go away if we misbehaved when we were young, like 12 to 15. We used to stand outside and cry for hours on end to let us come back in. They tried it once with our youngest sister, thinking she'll be scared and timid like us, but she confidently walked off. They followed her from afar, trying to see where she went. Imagine their horror when she went to the first creepy random stranger she found, talked for a few seconds and walked off holding his hand. They never tried that again on any of us. Well, they found more creative solutions, like locking you in a storage room with lights off or hitting you with a small thin rope that hurts like hell, but that's a story for another day. Not the idiot. It's great when someone's cruelty bites them in the butt and they have to face the consequences of their actions and cruelty. You did a great job sticking up for yourself, and hopefully your parents will keep being better. Super proud of you for graduating, getting an amazing job, and moving to a new apartment. Am I the idiot for shouting at my parents and calling them blind? I, female 19, have an elder sister, female 25, who recently lost her best friend due to a car accident. They were friends from literally when they both were babies. All this has affected her in a really bad way. It's been 2 months since the accident, and ever since then she has been really quiet. She barely eats anything or talks to anyone. Her college grades have also dropped. Seeing all this, I'm really worried about her. I tried talking to her, but she won't open up to me. I couldn't see her like that anymore, so I suggested to my parents that we should let her seek help from a professional like a therapist. But here's the thing, my parents don't believe that mental health issues are real. They are very traditional people when it comes to mental health, apart from that they are really up to date with everything. It's just the mental health that feels like a taboo to them. They just told me that there is nothing therapy can do and that she will get over it soon. But I told them that it's not a thing which you can get over soon, and the condition my sis is in, I don't think that she will get over it soon. But my parents wouldn't hear the end of it. Then they started to telling me my cousin, whom I don't really know or talk to, that she faked that she was in a really bad mental health state just to get attention from people around her, and that her parents wasted a lot of money and time on her therapy, so they don't believe it. They don't think my sis needs therapy because she is not depressed or anything like that. At this point I'm furious, and I kinda raised my voice and said, WTF guys. My sis is not like her, and she is clearly not faking it. Can't you guys see her? The way that she is being, she is not okay. How freaking blind can you guys be? And are we gonna wait around till the time she gets freaking depressed to seek professional help? Mind that it was the first time I was talking to them in this way. All of this just for my sis, who was their daughter as well. My parents got mad at me for raising my voice and calling them blind, and scolded me for talking to them like that and cursing at them, and also told me that I'm young so I shouldn't talk about things that I don't understand. They called me a brat and are not on speaking terms with me. Am I the idiot for shouting at my parents and calling them blind? Comments before the update. Not the idiot. It sounds as if your sister is already experiencing depression. Have a son that deals with it. Grief will definitely take you through various emotions and can take a while to cope with. Please reach out to someone now for her, and kudos for being a great little sis and looking out for what's best for her. Best to all of you, not the idiot. You may be the one to raise your voice, but your sister's behaviors are what's screaming for help. It is so sad that you had to frame it as something that your parents should let her do. It sounds as if you are trying so hard to be your sister's voice to your parents. Your sister should be the one to want to see the therapist, but it should be a very viable option. Your parents burying their head in the sand by pretending that depression doesn't exist isn't going to make it go away. Your sister may not slip into a depression, but validation and support can really help. Update. After reading all of the comments, I went ahead and talked to my sister and I asked her how she would feel about trying to talk to a professional. She didn't agree right away, but after a little coaxing, she agreed to it. I told her what happened between our parents and let's just say there were many tears and hugs after that. I then made my parents sit down on the dining table. I apologized to them for shouting and cursing at them, but I told them that mental health is a real thing and we should at least give talking to a professional one chance. If my sister doesn't feel that it's helping her, we will take a look at some other options. My parents didn't agree at first, but then I told them this time in a very polite manner that it is a really difficult time for my sister and we should help her in this time, and knowing that they were here to support would mean the world to her. I also told them that having mental health issues and seeking professional help is nothing to be ashamed of. Instead, we should embrace it because it's okay to need someone's help. At this point I was a crying mess and my parents were on the verge of crying as well. They were reluctant, but they agreed. We went to our sister room and we told her that we are here whenever she needed us. Our parents apologized for behaving the way they did and told us that there is nothing more important than seeing their children happy, and that they would be coming to the sessions if my sister feels like she needs them there. All this ended in a big hug and a lot of happy tears. So my sister is going for an appointment next week. I hope everything goes well. Fingers crossed. Not the idiot. This update warms my heart. You are an incredible sister, and I'm proud of you for how you handled yourself when talking to your parents. I'm so happy your parents came around and realized your sister, their daughter, is hurting and needs them more than ever. I'm also very happy your sister is going to get the help she needs. I wish you and yours all the love, strength, and healing. How would you deal with these parents? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for lying to my son? My son's father just got out of prison and contacted me about seeing him. He was in jail awaiting trial when my son, Ken, was born, and I did not put his name on the birth certificate. When I got married, my husband adopted Ken. Ken is 16 now, and he had no idea his dad wasn't his biological father. I was at a crossroads, but I decided that since Ken is almost an adult, I had to be honest with him. My husband and I sat Ken down and told him the truth and that his bio father wanted to meet him. Ken was furious with me and didn't want to finish talking to us. He went to his friend's house. Ken didn't give me a chance to explain why I did what I did. I wanted Ken to have a happy, normal childhood, unburdened by the knowledge that his father is a criminal. I wanted him to have a healthy male role model. Ken has thrived and is doing great in school. He has friends and even mentors middle schoolers through a program at school. I think my deception helped him. Still, my son feels betrayed and currently won't answer my calls. My husband managed to get a text saying he is okay and to give him space, but that is all. Was I wrong for trying to protect him? Comments before the update. You're the idiot. I know how your son feels right now. I've been in a pretty similar situation. My biological father was never in the picture, even went to jail for not paying child support. My dad, however, was always there for me. Since I was born, he married my mom when I was 3 and I got his last name, so I never suspected in any way that he's not my biological father. My parents sat me down to tell me when I was around 14, and I cannot tell you how much this hit me. It felt like my whole life had been a lie, that I could trust nothing my family ever told me. It took a long time to work through this for me. Not the idiot. As someone who went through the same situation but different. My mom was an addict and in and out of the system. She left me on the floor of an apartment when I was born, and my dad was finally able to get me out of foster care when I was 6. My dad was honest about my mom, and all I could do was wish every night for her to come home. I looked for her for years. She used aliases. Up until I was 15, I found my older brother, who was also left behind by her, who wanted absolutely nothing to do with me, and that broke me. My dad, when I was 18, told me he honestly wished he would have told me she died so that I wasn't so obsessed with getting a chance to meet her. My dad died in 2019 when I was 22, and I finally decided to try and find her again. I was older and had more money and actually succeeded in 2022, April. I found out she made a whole new life for herself, raising 2 kids with a husband and my newfound little brother 18 and little sister 15-year-old. She died in 2021 from complications from past drug use. I was devastated all over again. You can't expect a parent to make the right choice in situations like this. Yeah, I have closure that she's gone, but there's a lot of childhood trauma that I could have gone without. My dad would say my mom was sick, and when I got old enough let me know she was a meth addict. He also was an addict and got clean, and did a lot of classes to get me out of foster care. He said not everyone's as lucky as he was when it came to getting clean, and never made my mom to be a monster, but damn does it suck as a child to really know the truth. I think 16 is a fair age to get to know the truth about your parents when the situation isn't as pretty as we would like it to be. Yes, it's a freaking bombshell, but at least you didn't hide it forever. I wish I was older when I found out, instead of telling people at 10 years old that my mom ran away when I said I didn't have one. Update. I know most people here think I'm a terrible mother, so you probably don't want to hear from me again. However, if anyone out there is struggling with a similar situation to the one I had, maybe this can help you. My son and I sat down and had a long talk. He wanted to know everything about his biological father. I told him there are some things I would prefer not to tell him. But what if he insisted? He insisted, so I told him everything. It was very hard for him, and he had a lot of complicated emotions about it. He asked if his biological father knows where we live. He doesn't. All he has is my email. However, we aren't exactly hidden, and finding us is a possibility. I asked if he wanted me to respond to the email or ignore it. My son asked me to email his biological father and ask him to leave us alone. He asked if his bio father knows our current last name, and I said he shouldn't. He told me that he is hurt that I lied to him. He feels like he can't trust me as much as he once did. I told him that I was sorry, and that part of growing up is learning that parents aren't perfect and don't have all the answers. Always make the right choices. He had a long talk with my husband. He said he still considers my husband dad, and they hugged it out. All in all, I regret my decision. I think it would have been better to tell him at a young age that his dad isn't his biological dad. Then he would have had time to adjust instead of finding everything out at once. As it is, this is a huge revelation to deal with at a time in his life where he's already got a lot on his shoulders. Not the idiot. Good for you. It sounds like you guys are on the right path. Don't listen to hate on here going forward. 99% of the people who will criticize you for this update are people who spend their lives online. They don't want to acknowledge that people are capable of growth. They just like the little hit of serotonin they get when they send a hateful reply. Not the idiot. His trust in you will return. Right now, the hurt is all he feels. The fact that he's willing to sit down and talk it out shows that, no matter what, he loves you. Keep talking, give him time, and it'll eventually work out just fine. Good luck. Should she have told her son? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for telling off my parents? For some background info, I, female 18, have never had the best relationship with my parents. They became teen parents and had a hard time raising my siblings and I for years, which took a toll on them. My mother has always been tough to get along with, and my relationship with my dad was always based on conditions. They were usually hard on my siblings, and I and my older brother T couldn't stand them, so he moved out and limited contact with them. I'm not really sure if that puts some things into perspective or not. Anyways, about 2 years ago now I started dating my boyfriend, who I'll refer to as Jeff, 19 meters. Jeff and I kept our relationship a secret from my parents as long as we could until eventually my dad found out. Suffice to say, he was upset that I didn't tell him and my mom was indifferent to it. As we started getting more serious, he and I got intimate for the first time a few months after we began dating. And once again my parents found out. Like any other parent, they were very angry but took it to a new level by calling demeaning names, which I admit did hurt. Their unnecessary and mean comments only continued from there, and as I got older, I began to fight back. The other day, I had just come home from work and wanted to spend some time with Jeff, so I told my parents I'd be going over to his house for a bit. Immediately, they blew a fuse and started going off on me, saying I'm not going anywhere and they know I only want to go with him so I can sleep around with him and his roommates. His roommates are in their 20s and quite frankly not my type, so I blew up too and told them they're being ridiculous. Eventually I got so pissed that I said some hurtful things like how my older brother never visited because they made him miserable and they sucked his parents, and I wanted nothing to do with terrible people like them. Now they're hurt and not speaking to me, and I'm starting to feel like I was totally in the wrong. Am I the idiot? Edit. I feel like I'm the idiot because I blew up back at them instead of just trying to speak to them calmly, but I don't know if that would have made a difference. Not to mention hurting them by saying my brother hates them. Comments before the update. Not the idiot. Look into childhood emotional neglect. CEN and Dr. Jonas Webb. Everyone has a breaking point. You and they have just found yours. At 18, you are legally an adult and capable of making decisions for yourself. Understandably, because you're still living with your whole life givers, they likely expect certain rules and demands to be followed. Your adulthood be damned. That's unfortunately their right as parents and shelter providers. It doesn't mean that their expectations and demands of you are fair or just, especially if they become abusive when you want to do something reasonable. Unsolicited advice: get out ASAP and don't look back. Chances are, they're never going to change, and will only continue to insult and injure you. Not the idiot. Opus, you weren't being hurtful when you said those words. All you said was the truth, and if you dance around the truth, they will never get better, so good on you, Opus, for calling them out. And also, yelling at your kid about how they're going to sleep around it, just not how you handle something at all. I would have been surprised if you didn't say anything about that. Update, it's been a little while. I've been working, but I finally got some time off, so I thought I'd update. Long story short, it didn't go well. I told my parents that they were being childish and they didn't take it well. We got into a screaming match and I finally called it quits for them. I'm not going to continue to let them disrespect me over things that they're the only ones unhappy about. On the bright side, I moved out and moved in with Jeff. He and his roommates let me stay without paying rent until I can find a place of my own with Jeff and get back on my feet. So all in all, all's well that ends well. I'm going to continue to focus on myself, and when my parents decide to grow up, they know where to find me. If not, it won't be a total loss. Thank you to you guys for helping me see that what was going on wasn't okay. Hopefully from this point forward things will go uphill for me, not the idiot. Good job looking out for yourself. I'd recommend reaching out to other estranged family members if you have the chance to. Abusers tend to isolate their victims from those who can help. Maybe they wanted to get closer to you but couldn't stand your parents. Here's to hoping not everyone is as crazy as your parents.